Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to the Student Athlete Preparation Podcast. This is a special episode of with Mark Hoover. We just got back from the 2021 NHSSCA NatCon in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where Mark and I represented Simply Faster, and we were unique because we were both attendees and partners. You know, that's an interesting relationship there that we were up there. So Mark and I are just going to kind of talk about what we saw and what we experienced both with the NHSSCA and what makes why we feel like it was a success for us with Simply Faster. So Mark, thanks for taking the time to join with me today, man. It's really good that we can go over this.
Yeah, man, glad to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. So getting up there and getting set up, what about the conference did you take away? Like just a couple of bullet points did you take away from it now that we could get back in person?
Well, one is just like the fellowship, man, is second to none. I know, people that aren't members of the association or attend these conferences probably are like, man, these guys are full of it. Like they're all posting like, oh, it's so great and everybody's friendly. And I'm telling you, it's absolutely, the organization is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The group of people that are the leadership, I mean, the people that I met, I mean, I was telling someone the other day that like all the guys and girls that I've become close friends with just because of the association, that alone is worth it.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that was my initial take.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was so good to finally be around these people that I haven't met in person and finally get to. This was my first one. I'd never experienced anything like this to where, it's not like your NSCA or CSCCA conference. It's where it's a lot more intimate, in my opinion. Even just the downtime of getting to hang out with each other at the hotel. And also like at this conference they feed you, like that's a big deal.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah. Like getting to sit down in the whole room and you could have sit down with any coach and just talked over food. That's a big deal.
I felt guilty because, I've been to all five. So I've made I feel like I'm close friends with like 100 people that were there.
Right.
And I'm walking into the cafeteria to get food. And I'm like, I mean, I don't want to seem like I don't want to sit with this guy, but I want to, that's how it was crazy. But the best story for me is Steve Schween and I talk about this all the time, Cienega High School in Arizona, freaking great coach. And at first NatCon, John Ernst and I walk into the hotel and we go upstairs, put our stuff down. We come down and we're walking out to the car and we're in the glass doors and then walks Steve, bald, beard. And Hurst was like, that guy looks like a strength coach. We're like, hey, man, you a strength coach? He's like, yeah. Like, hey, you want to go to dinner with us? Yeah. We sat down. I mean, became fast friends, hung out the whole time. I mean, I feel like if he ever came to Charlotte, he'd probably crash at my place. That's how we've grown from that. And I mean, just 100 stories like that.
Yeah.
I just can't say enough.
No doubt. We got the opportunity to do something a little different and represent Simply Faster at their booth, which was really cool. If you guys tried to watch the live stream, it was kind of we're still I'm trying to get better. That was kind of my responsibility. But Mark, your responsibility, which was to demonstrate the VMAX Pro, one thing I was really excited to see was during those partner mini sessions, man, I thought our booth was the hit. Like there was a lot of people wanting to know about the VMAX Pro. And thankfully that we had Arsenal Strength next to us to be able to demonstrate both the squat and the bench in two different sessions.
Yeah.
And then be able to show the new beta software coming out soon. So talk to us a little bit about the VMAX Pro's new software and how it's going to be changed from the original app.
Yeah, I had the easy job, man. Like I had the easy job. You were. I was trying to help out, but my job was kind of just the demonstration and talk. But I didn't know exactly how many people we'd had, but you're right, man. It was like unbelievable the amount of traffic we had, the people that talked to me about it. I think that the VMAX Pro kind of brings together the reliability of something more expensive, like the GymAware is the gold standard, and it's so everything's compared to that, and I think it gets close in that area, but it also is versatile and affordable.
Yeah.
So I think that's everyone's looking for, that price range option. And, I think I've used everything in that price range for the most part. There's nothing even close. And the new software is just so I was telling the group, I'm sure you heard me say it both times, just real quick, that, talking to Marcel, the developer, he kind of said, hey, we built this thing for kind of the European sports model.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good that way. And they sat down and want to talk to me and some other high school coaches about how they can make it a team optimization, aspect of it to it, and really bring it to us as a team unit. And we gave him our ideas. And a couple months later, I set up a Zoom call with him. I take a 6-page of notes. He nailed it. I'm excited to get, we have this break. We're in this dead period coming up, and the team software should be out hopefully before we come back on the 12th. And I'll jump right in with it. Calendar, it kind of has a calendar option. It automatically adjusts the kid's weight, the lifter's weights, based on various things, whether you want it to be velocity drop, velocity range, percentage. I could talk all day about it, but
right.
it's something else, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's such a good product. I have one too. I'm excited to when it actually updates to where I can start playing with a little bit more now that I have the team license, so we can actually start trying to get as individualized as possible and reading that data and all that. But that was a really good part of the conference where we got to do that. I'm hats off to Gary and all the founders and Rich and those guys for allowing the partners to have a chance to showcase their stuff, because that's important, and I don't know if, with us being, helping Simple Faster out and first time there being at a conference, I would say it was a success for us being able to be both, because we got to represent them, but we also got to attend the conference. It's not like some vendors just show up and they put their stuff up, and then as soon as the partner alley's done, they're gone. Like you don't even see them, and getting to be able to do that was really awesome. Man, talk about the high school we were at. Guys, the high school we were at, Coach Ryan Johnson has an absolute mecca of a high school. That thing is massive. It's got 7 or 8 gyms. The weight room is right off the hallway in a garage roll-up door. Their cafeteria is the size of a college cafeteria, if not bigger. That's where we were set up during the partner booth time. So that was a lot of fun, and just being able to hang out off campus. Like if there was one thing I noticed being my first time was, we didn't get to do the whole, they planned to have this event after it was over at Lake Minnetonka or whatever, but it was raining and all that, so we just pivoted to the hotel, social area, and man, just hanging out and being able to talk to anybody without worrying about any type of big timing. And that happened, like being able, you have the founders of the entire organization right there just mingling among us because they were all coaches too. That's a big deal. And getting to meet guys like you and Adam Lane and all these other coaches.
Daniel McKim was there?
Yeah, from Sornex. Yeah, he was.
That was awesome.
The little Debbie King himself was there. It was really cool,
And just hanging out with us, it was, Joe Ken sitting there.
Yeah.
The whole deal, man. It was something else.
Yeah, and then getting to see what was pretty surreal for me too was the award ceremony. And I know some people were getting really antsy because it was long because they had to make up for last year. I get it, but getting to see how they honored those coaches and how everybody's there, the way they put together videos, the detail for both, Dr. Metters, Coach Schrock, and Coach Vanderbush, man, like I feel like those guys flew under the radar for years. Like
no doubt.
Nobody really knew who they were because they were high school strength coaches before high school strength coach even was a thing, So I'm thankful to the association just for doing that.
Yeah, that was really something else. I was appreciative that they had the award winners from last year stand. Just that was just cool, and then just having those videos, and the research they did to bring those people in. I heard Kevin talking about it. He had no idea. He was like, "Where did you find?" You just they cover every base. They talk about bringing value to the profession and to our field. And I mean, I'm telling you, I've been to different conferences, and you're right. There's a lot of like rolling up your sleeve guys walking around, and then a lot of guys with the logos that are bumming and not going to talk to this guy and that guy. And I'm telling you, is there a bigger strength coach than Gary Schofield? He could be anywhere you wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like just laughing and joking, and I mean, it's just and him and I go way back. But I mean, it's just a different thing, man. It's great.
Gary was down here about a month ago. He podcasted with me, and then as soon as I got in the doors, I was lugging that 80-pound podcast studio bag, and the first thing Gary came up to me was like, "Hey, let me get that," and he took it from me, and that thing's not light. And I was like, "Gary, you don't have to He's like, "I know I don't. That's kind of the point." He's like, "Let me get this where you needed to go." Yeah, I thought that was powerful. And the thing that makes the NHSSCA different, is the uniqueness of making sure everybody's heard. There's a guy that I met there by the name of Alex Greenway. He was local. He's bought my ebooks. He's talked to me a ton of times, DM'd me, reached out, doing a great job at his high school. And honestly, I had no idea what he looked like. That's probably a terrible part on my end, just from social media, especially the Twitter side. And he just came up to me at the first night and was like, "Hey, coach, it's Alex. It's nice to finally meet you in person." That took guts to just approach somebody you don't know. Like, I look at it from my end, but I know in a lot of other situations that, I mean, you never know how you're going to approach somebody at a conference where they could really big time you. Like, you could feel really humiliated in a moment like that. I hope that Alex felt like he felt comfortable in doing that, not just because of me, but because of the environment we were in. I mean, it didn't matter who was talking to who. Everybody was just together in that small room. So the food, I mean, there was food at every opportunity, man. Like,
those ribs, man. Oh my God.
I know. Well, I'm just like, sometimes that can be a deterrence for a cost for a coach, because you're like, the conference fee's one thing, but getting there, staying there, and then eating. I mean, it adds up quick, right? So in
reality, you could have, if you didn't come the night before, you really wouldn't have to pay for much food. I mean, we did the one time, but I mean, what jumped out to me was like, seeing everybody, like, just like, I've been good social media buddies with Adam Vogel for a long time. No idea that is a big dude. And I was like, I just, you see someone sitting, you're like, you just, guys walking with me like, "Hey, we've been chatting on Zoom," a guy that I've been talking to about a different thing, Coaching Plus thing, and he's like, he goes, "I didn't know if you recognized me," and I was thinking in my head, I didn't, but I'm glad I do now. Just like seeing people up close and in person, and just I mean, just great stuff, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So you've got the family atmosphere, the food. I really like how when we go to learn, it's very concentrated. So like, hey, when we're going to learn, everybody's going to learn. Nobody's really a straggler, whether it's pre-con, a lecture, or hands-on. First off, the hands-on that I went to, which ones did you go to as far as hands-on?
I went to Bobby Stroup.
So you're Bobby Stroup, right? So we were in that one together. So let's talk about that. So if you don't know Bobby Stroup, he's from, well, at this point, we don't know where he's from because he's all over the place, but everybody knows him as Pat Mahomes' strength coach.
That's what he said too, and I was laughing. When he said that he's trying to convince his wife that they can make a lot more money if they just officially change his name to to Bobby Pat Mahomes' strength coach.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and when he said, like, just the humility of it, like,
right,
he's like, he doesn't need to be that way. Like, he's Bobby Stroup, and everyone knows who Bobby Stroup is. And where he comes up and says, "I know exactly why everybody's here, so let's just knock this video out." And I know, like he showed the little Patrick Mahomes like clips,
Yeah.
It was just, man, it was great, And then when he got into the the movie clips and then
the BS movie reviews.
Yes.
BS movie review.
Dude, that should be, I don't know, he probably doesn't have time for it, but that should be a YouTube show.
No doubt.
BS movie reviews. That was
Absolutely.
great. And then, talking about getting in depth in the fascial system and all that kind of stuff. I thought, and it's just, that's the secret sauce is just listening to the things that those guys do a little bit different than everyone else.
I love the fact that Bobby was my spirit animal when he said, like, I don't have time to get approval from everybody else's thought processes. When I have an idea and I have a creative idea, I'm going to go for it. And he made this BS movie review analogy to A Quiet Place. Is that the movie? Or what's it's the movie where if you make noises, if you make noise, the creatures come and kill you. Right. Saying like that's how the strength conditioning field is that if you try to make some noise, it's coming.
Nails it.
And he did a really good job of talking about how, and then we went into depth on his vector training and his warm-ups and movement and locomotion. And I that could have been a whole nother thing in itself that we didn't even really get to. And it blew my complete socks off when that dude did a full squat with his ankles on the side of his feet.
Just watch that video.
You gotta be kidding me. Like, what?
I was like, good gracious, I mean,
and go ahead.
I tapped out. Me and Stu Venable both tapped out about this. So we started his warm up.
Yeah.
It's funny. I noticed that Stu and I had tapped out the exact same point. Old man tap out time, but crazy.
Yeah. It's really good how he mentions how he says, like, look, I'm not a quarterback's coach, not a baseball coach, but I know the body and teaching throwing mechanics, and like how he mentioned how he helped Trevor Story get out of this chronic bicep pain he was having, basically because of a lack of pronation and because of how hard he throws, it can be troublesome. And he made the analogy of like we're going to do 100 curls. We talked about it in the car. The coach that's squat, bench, curl all the time. That if you're just curl all the time and there's no rotation, just like at the leg, like no tibial, rotation and stuff and movement prep. Like, guys, if you don't train it, I don't know how you're going to be efficient movers at what you do best, which in baseball is rotating and throwing, swinging, football, or any movement, agility-based sport is being able to move and change direction. So we saw Bobby Stroup there in the early morning, and then the lecturer that day, who was it? What's his name? Eric Klein. Yeah, Coach Klein.
Yeah, that's good.
Who went into depth on like just his straight philosophy, and he's been doing this for a long time. So what'd you hear from Coach Klein's presentation?
So I thought it was kind of cool with him because it was so similar to a lot of the ways that I've learned how to do it over the years, the tumbling and a lot of those things that he talked really, I guess it's confirmation bias a little bit on my behalf. It's kind of cool to, you like to see someone doing something different, but it's kind of cool too when you see someone the level of that coach be like, this is how we do it. And right. Like, hey, we're on the right track. We're on the right track. So, but it was kind of cool to hear from someone that's at such an academic institution as well. Because that's, people do things you just can't, like, not that every public high school is an academic like that, but we have our sports teams all day, and they didn't even let his he said he didn't even let their kids out early to go to sporting events without a big fight with the so just to hear someone that's at a different situation, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, no doubt. And then
I thought it was funny with him when he won one of the VMAX Pros in the partner giveaway.
Oh, did he really? I didn't even realize that. Holy cow.
I heard him say, I got to figure out how to use this thing. And I was on my way toward him, and someone said, there's the guy to talk to. And I was like, hey, coach, if I can help you out. I said, my suggestion is just play around with it in your own training, and then we'll talk. But I thought it was funny that some of the guys that won some of that technology in the partner giveaways were people that are not really known for their technology, use. So it was kind of cool that they were able to get some of that. But
right. And then speaking of that, for those of you that don't know, like, what also separates this conference is the giveaway. They do a huge raffle.
Oh,
so that you register, you get your name badge, and you draw a ticket. and you put one in a bucket and one you keep, and then they
Dude,
give
who
away.
won the main prize?
I know we're gonna get to that. So,
Okay.
which blows my mind. I'm sitting there with Brandon Herring and John Herschel, two Bama boys that we hung out with, and Brandon's over here shaking his head like, I'm 0 for 4. I'm 0 for 4. I haven't won anything. John's complaining, and they go all the way up from equipment companies giving away things such as like Simply Faster. We gave away 3 VMAX Pros. They gave away barbells, gave away plates, all kind of stuff. Team Builder gave away a whole year of premium subscription, all kind of stuff, right? And then they even did like
$10,000 in equipment.
Right. I mean, then they go up to go, all right, you've got $500, $1,000, $2,500, $5,000 gift certificate to use with any partner sponsor of the NHSSCA. And people get to do all that.
Yeti cooler full of cash. I was like,
right. Like all these Yeti coolers full of cash.
Yeah.
And you just had to pick one. Yeah, man. And then the last grand finale was Satanta College. It's this online college out of Ireland that is fully accredited to the NSCA, fully built on a master's degree in strength conditioning. And I remember sitting there, it's like, I'm not totally interested. I already have a master's, and they call out my ticket like to get this master's degree.
They couldn't give that thing away, man. That was hilarious.
I know it. And I was like, so I told Gary, I was like, I've already got one, man. Give it somebody who needs it. And they drew the next 3 names were guys that were probably 50 plus. And they're like, man, I'm not doing this.
Well, I'm 50 plus. I would have taken it. But hey, the one guy that drove us around a little bit there, I think he was like 63. He's like, I'm not going back to school.
Yeah,
and then everyone else had a master's. And then I think it was Bewley that said, after about the 5th person said, I don't want this $14,000 scholarship. Like $14,000. I don't need it.
Right.
Bewley said, hey, anybody that's interested in this, throw the ticket in there. And that's people did it. But yeah. I mean, you think about that, man. That girl's life has changed because she's probably what? Maddie Distel, she's probably what? 25 maybe. Yeah. I mean,
25, just getting into full-time role. She's an assistant for Winkler up at Hoban. Hoban. Yeah.
That's going to increase her pay for the next 25, 30 years.
Yeah. And I bet that with it being accredited, like this isn't just like, because my master's degree, I'm going to be honest, I only got my master's because it allowed me to be a GA to coach. My content in my master's didn't really help me a ton. No. But this one with Satanta College, I mean, it's all about it. So she could learn a bunch of new stuff but also, increase her pay immediately.
I mean, the contacts he's going to make. Did you see the people that were professors for them and stuff? I mean, like Schofield's a professor for them.
Yeah.
Or like an adjunct professor or whatever. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's a big time deal. So big ups to Maddie for drawing that. That's a big deal. And that's just really cool. For the most part, that's kind of what the conference is a couple of lectures, couple of hands-on. We saw Bobby Stroup. Then I went to, what was the second one you went to? What was the second hands-on session you went to?
I went to Adam Vogel's.
What was his? Strongman?
No, doing the speed. The linear speed.
The linear speed.
He's got like the dog tags and stuff.
Cool. So
it was good.
Update me on that because I didn't see that. I went to Jeremy Boone's movement-based games.
That was another great one. He was just talking about using the timing system and how he, tiers his, like instead of using the wristbands, he has the dog tags or whatever.
Right.
Just the different, like just talking sprint, sprint
cool.
stuff.
Yeah, cool, man. The one I went to with Jeremy Boone, Jeremy was so good. He went, he's really good. And he went all the way from just something very simple as like anything that creates focus. So something you can do very quickly, like he said, like you got to get it perfect of like clapping, half clap, high five. If you don't hear right, it doesn't count. Like it's a very good, easy way to have fun and engage and get people to focus. And then the movement part was like one I really liked was speed tag, where you would have 4 cones. You'd have like 5 people lined up outside the box, 5 people inside. The people on the inside are just trying not to get tagged. And it's a timing thing. So you got person 1 goes and tags somebody in the box, got to get back and tag in. Guy 2 goes, and you got to go through all 5 people, have to tag somebody and come back before time's up. And then the team inside is trying to just avoid. right? And you watch their movement strategy, because that's the thing is like, guys, it's not just for fun. Don't be a fan of these games. Be a coach and watch how they move. Watch their strategy of where their eyes go, how they decide to get from point A to point B. You know, like I was like that type of stuff can carry over to the sport, especially in games like in sports like football and basketball.
Yep.
Things are happening so fast. So, you know, we took 10 or 11 games away from that we'll actually get the recording from, which I mean, all these we're going to be able to go see the recording anyway.
I've been lucky enough to be around Jeremy a lot because he lives down here, you know.
Right.
And I've seen his presentation and talked to him a lot about it. You know, all that reaction agility stuff, you know, if you can make it into a game, it turns into a much more higher intent, you know, situation. And you know, I'm not one of those, like, we're not using close-ended drills anymore, you know,
right.
We're only going reactive, but because there's a place for everything. But, you know, in the winter when our football guys are just kind of lifting and, you know, and not doing a whole lot of 7-on-7s and practicing and stuff. I mean, what a great time to build that in, you know?
Yeah.
No it's doubt. Just, it's great. And, you know, I can't remember if it was Nick DeMarco or somebody I was listening to on a different situation that was saying that they've actually done some research where, you know, the human body's reaction to an inanimate object is so much different. Just the angles and how you stop, because you don't view it as a threat.
Yeah.
You know, your body doesn't view it as a threat. Kind of got into that. You know, you think about that. That's why you're seeing in those games, you're seeing such great intent, and the transfer is going to be there because, you know, your body is getting into some of those situations you're going to be in and how you move. And it's the whole thing, man. It's great.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a big deal to see all these different strategies that are just no longer about how big the squat and bench is. You know, like that's the thing is there wasn't a whole lot about that.
No.
Because that's not, you know, and we've got to find ways.
I mean, even Eric was talking about, I'm a front squat guy.
Right.
You know,
I mean, and hey, whatever. I mean, kudos to how you get it done.
Okay, but I mean, it wasn't your traditional, you know, just that type of heavy weightlifting X and O stuff.
Right. Even a very important one that you don't see very often was Missy's presentation on training the female athlete, which was very good. One of the things I took from her presentation is understanding like female joint laxity is such a big deal, you know, and how instability, like the stability part of training is just as important as anything, especially with them, you know, how strength is important, but their movement ability is even more important, you know, and like being able to be stable in positions where they play, which to me, stability and strength aren't the same thing. They're similar, but they're not the same. And then another one is just how you approach them, period. Because like even with me as a male coach, like I struggle with some of our like younger 8th, 9th grade females on how to connect and how to drive them. And because, you know, she made a great point on like, if you're going to compete, like a lot of males really drive off that competitive environment. Yeah. And I'm not saying that some females don't, but they want it to be more about personal growth. And then they want to be around sport for the social aspect rather than just a competitive aspect, which that opened up my eyes a lot on now my approach going into the rest of the summer and into just the school year itself of how to keep girls involved in sports. I didn't realize that stat was crazy of like how many girls drop out of sports, you know, and then trying to dig in why. And a lot of it has to do with like if they don't have a friend group in that team.
Yeah,
good luck.
They're done.
You know, so
my daughter went through that. I mean, my own child went through that last year where she switched clubs to get a little bit closer to home and not have to drive so far. And it about killed her desire to play soccer because her previous club she'd been with, she loved the coach. The coach was one of those guys that just knows how to coach girls, you know, and very Socratic in his coaching methods, and you know, not a lot of yelling, more you know, questioning, and her other group, a good team. I mean, they were a good team, but it was not a tight knit group, you know, just that whole thing. And And I'm telling you, man, it about got her to not want to play soccer anymore. So
Wow.
see that today, talking about with girls, it's funny you said that, because today I get done with our guys and I'm just frankly a little agitated with some of the effort from some of our male athletes, and my girls are coming in, and I was a little grumpy with them, and today, and and I could just see in there, like I could just see them looking at me like, why? Like, why are you acting like this?
Yeah.
So I stopped myself. I took a big deep breath. I said, look, Coach Hoover's being a big grumpy bear today because of something that happened early. Everything to do with you. Got them smiling again, And but you're right. I wrote an article for Simply Faster, and then one of the lead parts of the article was, this is God's honest truth. As much as I love working with football because it's kind of the high testosterone alpha sport.
Yeah.
Later on in my career, and I'm getting down where I probably have 12, 13, 14 years left. If an opportunity ever popped up where I was able to work solely with female athletes, I'd jump on it.
Wow.
I'd jump.
How about that?
I really would. Yeah. It just make, they're if you give them the reason, like Missy was talking, if they're so more analytical and want to be like, all right, girls, this is why we're doing this. And this is why I need you to do it that way. And then you just let them go. And most of the time, you just, they want to, especially once you have a good relationship with them and and there's a trust factor there. I mean, it's a great situation. So
yeah, I even experienced that when I was at the first ever team I ever coached. I have a picture up on my bookshelf of the 2016 West Alabama volleyball group that I got to train, and it was one of those things. I came in, first team ever, I'm guns blazing a little bit, but you realize that with girls it takes longer to get their trust, but once you have it, they go through a brick wall for you, and a lot of guys think they know it all. A lot of girls are just nervous and want you to show them the way. So
that's it.
That's a great point. And it's fun. It's fun to coach a team, especially when you have a head coach that gets it too.
Yeah.
Because they're a huge driver in that as well. So big ups to Missy for doing that. If you don't know Missy Beth, she was a long-time strength coach at TCU. Big time volleyball. I mean, her girls volleyball at Byron Nelson High School in Texas, around the Dallas area, is like, I think they were number one in the country at one point. She talked about how good they are. So she's an excellent resource. Board member for the NHSSCA as well. Very bright. I'd follow her on Twitter and Instagram if you can.
And she plays pro or semi-pro beach volleyball too, doesn't? I mean,
something
she's a
like
crazy
that.
athlete.
I know that she's definitely that. There's no doubt.
Yeah, she's a star.
Yeah, so she's definitely a big contact to know, and that's one we heard. And but other than that, man, it was that's kind of a wrap for it. We traveled back on Sunday for most of us, and caught flights back home. And I had this. Did I tell you that I had a lot of trouble at the airline?
No.
So I had my iPad stands that Simply Faster provided. They were heavy duty. Like, I'm just like, I can't leave these here. These are so nice.
No.
And getting them in my suitcase. Well, my suitcase went from being 49 pounds, right under 50, with my podcast studio, to like 74. And they won't put something over 70 pounds on the plane. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So I had to, like, in the middle of the airport, take the stuff out, put it in my personal suitcase, put stuff in my carry-on. And I ended up getting it on. We figured it out. The guy there was really helpful. But that was it. Brandon dropped his boarding pass like way before security.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But I also got a chance.
That's something that would happen to Brandon too.
I know
that is so something that happen.
And then at least to cap off my experience, we had about an hour and a half. We got there early for Brandon's flight, but me and Jeremy Evans down from the King's Academy down in Florida, we had known each other for a long time and followed each other, but never had a chance. We got to sit down because we were there super early for Brandon's really early flight. And our flight, I think his flight was gone at 9:30, mine was at 10:30. So, and we were there, we're through security at 7. So we got breakfast together, talked to each other, didn't stop talking for 2.5 hours, just getting to know each other.
He's the man.
Like such a humble dude and very bright guy, and he gets it. And he was he's doing a great job down there. And we weren't even talking strength conditioning, man. We were talking life. How he's got a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old. I've got a 2-year-old. How his kids in jiu-jitsu and, and doing all these other things, and how you had an AD leave, and how his president walked into his office. And Jeremy, I hope you're not embarrassed that I'm sharing this, but his president walked into his office and said, "Jeremy, you've been doing a great job. What's it going to take to make sure you stay here for a little while?" And he got a raise on the spot.
He called me up and he said that there was some other things going on, and the president called him in and said, "How much is it going to take just to guarantee that you're here?" And I told him, I said, when he was telling me about that, he said, "Yeah, the president wants to. I got a meeting set up with the president." And I said, "Dude, you're about to get a big raise." And he's like, "I don't know, maybe." I was like, "No, what? I mean, they're not calling you in there to say good luck. We've enjoyed having you here. They're calling you in there to say, I mean, like, how do we keep you here forever?" I was like, it's you're, and that's the right move, man. I mean, you got to know him real well, and I've known him well for a while. I mean,
sure,
that's just a guy that whatever it takes, like, pay that dude whatever it takes to keep him there, because it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, completely agree. Such a good, and that just shows, guys, like the parallel of that kind of conversation. I have no doubt, probably with 98, I don't want to say 100, I would hope so, but 98% of anybody that was at that conference, if I would have had an opportunity to sit down at breakfast or whatever with any of those coaches, it would have went the same way.
Oh yeah,
sharing everything we had to know and helping each other. Like, there's no hoarding information. It's more like, hey, what's your situation like? It's different than mine. What do you do in your situation that might fit mine? And vice versa. Like, what do you do that might can help fit mine? And that's how we all truly grow, and just, I mean, even just like us, you and John hopping in the car, because I'm over here freaking out because I got to get some things for the live stream.
Yeah.
And
you get nervous, man. You just.
My wife tells me I'm a perfectionist. Like, I need everything to be right, and that plays a lot of good stuff, but it also can come back to haunt me. And John's like, "Dude, man, you need to go sit down and have a drink, man. You need to relax."
Calm down, man.
I was like, "John," it's like, "All right, let's hop in the car," and we drove around the suburbs of Minneapolis and got a couple things, but just getting to sit down and eat together, and
that was great.
That was awesome.
I love, John Herschel was this previous strength coach here at York.
Right. And, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And he called me up and said, "Hey, I'm leaving you. They want to talk to you." And at that point, I wasn't in a position really to leave because it's time of the year there. And I thought that job was never going to come around. And then the way it worked out, it opened up again in October. And that's what got me here in 2017. But so John and I, we met at the NSC preparation exam thing years ago, and he was actually teaching it with Winthrop there. He taught part of it, and we ended up meeting, and we drove together to the first NatCon. That's cool. When we met Steve Schween. But my most interesting, the funniest conversation was Stuart Venable from Nebraska, right? Yeah, Nebraska.
Yeah.
He walks up and he said, "And what's your deal?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Are you a strength coach? You work for what?" And I said, he goes, "I know you were a strength coach, but what are you doing now? You're a vendor or you're a partner?" I was like, "No." I said, "I'm a strength coach. That's what I do. I'm still at York. He goes, "Okay." So he goes, "What's up with Simply Faster?" And I said, "Well," "we're affiliated." I said, it's kind of like friends with benefits, I do, I help them. They have certain things they need, coaches, and they're smart to do it that way. There's certain things they need done, and why send someone that's not a coach to do it when you could send coaches to do it, like you and I doing things for them." And he kind of explained. He goes, "Oh, well, that's actually pretty cool." And I said, "Yeah, it's worked out pretty good." But yeah, that was funny. He walked up and he said, "Well, what is your deal with that situation?"
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, this will go on my YouTube channel. Simplyfaster.com is a online platform that has coach education, plus they sell a lot of technology products, including the VMAX Pro velocity tracking device that both Mark and I use, that we gave away. Well, Christopher gave away at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
NetCon. Christopher's the CEO, so unbelievable
Sport
people.
technology evangelist.
Yeah,
right?
the sports
That's on his card.
technology evangelist. That's it.
Sweet.
He gets it, man. He's a good dude. They're good people.
Oh,
Give
best.
him business, man. Not that we're getting kickback from that, just because me and you wouldn't be affiliated with this organization if we didn't think they were good people. And we're really excited. You know, they've got the best thing about them is their blogs are vetted by coaches who are really good. They don't just let anybody write for them. And they so go on their blog and read their stuff. They've got categories from everything you can think of. I mean, buyer's guide to technologies. That's a huge one, right? There's like, hey, let me guide you on like, all right, you're looking for velocity technology tracking, barbell tracking. Okay, here's your options. Pretty unbiased, right? And then you've got time and gait systems, right? I mean, you're one of them, Mark. You have free lap, dasher, all of the above. I don't know. Stopwatch plus.
Yeah, you used to have a Zyback. Right now, it's just dasher and the free lap. But,
yeah. So you can reach out to Mark for that too. He's more of the product specialist. I'm kind of more on the education on the blog side for him, along with the podcast and educational side. I feel like that's kind of more my strong suit. So, well, glad you guys could join us. We've been going for about 40 minutes. I think this was a good recap of finally getting back in person and being able to hang out. You know, it's the first time Mark and I ever met in person. You know, gotten to hang out and do this. So
lots of people the first time. You know, it's crazy. And I just say, if you're not a member of the National High School Strength Coach Association, you know, and you can be a member of other organizations. You know, I am, but you are. You know, it's just this organization for high school coaches is just something special. Yeah. And I can't push it enough that it's $100. You know, what do you get for $100? Well, the fact that I have friends all over the country, that's worth $100 a year to me. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just the fact that, you know, it's just like the level of coach, you know, that I can just jump on the phone with now and be like, hey, let me bounce this off. You know how many times I've called Gary Schofield for advice? Yeah. You know, it is, I can't express it enough.
Yeah, it's do it. You know, if you're involved in high school athletes, period, you're walking to train athletes, do it, because you can't pay for better continuing education than friendship. Being able to call up a friend on the phone, like, hey, what do you think about this? And you have a friend that's going to bounce off information to you in a way that's simply just trying to help you. You know, they're not trying to, because I've had conversations with coaches when I've asked for help. Instead, they've kind of just confirmed how good of a coach they are rather than really helping me. And that doesn't happen. I haven't experienced that. Yeah,
you know,
right. And
just to have a conversation.
Right, no doubt. So you've got that, you know, it's $100 a year. You know, you can't go wrong with that, man. It's an absolute steal. You know, they do everything they can to make this thing affordable because they know that, you know, we're not working with multi-million-dollar budgets like a lot of Power 5 staffs get to play with. You know, so that's a big deal. If you can join, if you have more questions, you can ask me and Mark about that. You know, like calling Gary Schofield. Like I talked to Fred Eves for an hour and a half on Saturday night. When I was
guys looked like it was pretty heavy duty too.
Yeah,
we were sitting right behind Tony Stewart, Nick Ficker, and JT Thomas, and I were sitting close to you.
Yeah,
we kept looking over there like we wanted to kind of jump in with you guys, but you were in a heavy duty conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to get too, because it was a pretty personal conversation, but Fred pulled me aside to tell me that that conversation he got nothing out of. He didn't have to say the things he said. He took an interest in me. He gave me some life advice, told me that, you know, I'm a young guy that's got an opportunity to make an impact and that every choice that I make is important, and to make sure that you keep your ducks in a row. Like, that's the short of it. Like, he went into a lot of detail about other areas, and he didn't have to say that kind of stuff, man. He really didn't. He didn't have to take his time in a time where, one, you get to catch up with friends that he hadn't seen in forever. Yeah. And this is the last night there, and he took a whole hour and a half out of his time to go say, Cody, let's go talk. Man, let's sit down, let's hang out. I got something I want to share with you. And that's just the overall representation or a microcosm of what the NHSSCA is. And I really, really believe in the organization and where it's going. So keep an eye out, man. You never know what area you're in. There's state clinics. There's family days, which is like the free clinic that some people will put on. There's regional conferences, and then there's the national conference. If you'll just go to NHSSCA.us, you can find all the information you need there, whether it's events around you. They've got an online database of all these presentations, all of these tools, all of these resources and references. I'm not sure. Is there a directory on the website of all the members? I'm not even sure.
I'm not sure if there is or not. That'd be cool. That's a good idea.
It may be a good idea to have a directory of the
Toby.
and contact info,
Absolutely.
so you can email or call somebody depending on what they want, information wise out. So, but do that, man, and that's I would really highly encourage everyone to reach out to go and check it out. So, other than that, Mark, you got any final closing words on the conference experience we had?
No, just like I said, people probably listen to this that aren't involved with the association or didn't go and probably think that we're blown out of proportion. I promise you, every single thing you're reading online, coaches are tweeting and putting on Facebook, absolute fact. Absolute fact. Just a blast.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we'll let you guys go, and if you need anything, don't feel free to reach out to me or Mark. We're on Twitter. We're on, you can email us. You can do whatever you need to do to get in touch with us. So, we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next time.